It's another episode of Spencer Uncensored. This is episode, get a load of this, 99. We are one episode shy of 100 episodes of coming on here live with you guys and talking everything about momentum and mastery. We talk about mindset. We talk about mechanics. We talk about movement. We talk about clarity. We talk about consistency. We talk about conditioning. There's a lot of things we talk about, but at the end of the day, it's about helping you move forward. We are glad you're here. My name is Spencer Combs, and I believe that professional development always happens on the backside of personal development because people, businesses don't actually grow, people do. So that's why we're here. That's why you're here. You want to see, you want to get that competitive edge that's going to help you get where you want to go. So, man, I just packed my book. Usually I have a copy of Momentum and Mastery sitting right here beside me, and none of the other ones are close by. So anyway, I usually have that so you guys can see it, but you can get your free copy. It's not a very big book. You can go to Amazon and pay more for it, or you can get it free. Just pay for the shipping and handling. I got it written right here down below here, so you can grab your copy of it while some others show up. These episodes actually lined up rather well. Here's what I mean by that. This is episode 99. Next week will be episode 100, and episode 100 will be the last one for the year because on Christmas night, I don't know that I'll be coming on. Actually, I know I won't be coming on live because we'll be traveling. Got some cool things happening for me and all three of my daughters, but two of them specifically were on that particular night. We're going to be in Washington, D.C., and then headed to Gettysburg and then over to Philadelphia and then back down. It's going to be a good time with them. I'm excited about that trip. But anyway, we won't have episode 101 until, what is that, January, probably the 8th. It's the not on New Year's Day, but the following. We'll probably, oh no, hold on. New Year's Eve? Man, my days are completely messed up. Those are Wednesdays. We're going to have 100 next week, and then we may or may not have 101 on the. This is real life, uncensored conversation going on right now. So anyway, yeah, I haven't thought that through. Apparently, those are Tuesday nights. We do this on Tuesday, not Wednesday. See, I used to do a thing called Wednesday Night Live on Wednesdays for a real estate team that we used to have a really good time on that, and that's why I'm so programmed to do it on Wednesdays. That's what made me think of that. So. Long story short, next week will be episode 100, and then we will probably be off until the Tuesday, probably the 7th, I think it is, in January. We'll be back on the horse. Okay, so we'll still be providing value. If you want to get your daily dose, there's a place for you to scan right there. You can get your copy of you can get on the daily dose. Daily dose is your is Momentum and Mastery in your inbox. I'll put the link right here for you. So that way you guys can go to unshakeablesecrets.com. Just sign up for that. You get it for free. I send you every morning some sort of nugget to help you cut through the chaos, build more consistency, and get the structured conditioning you need to create the results you're after. Because that's what we do here. So I'm excited about what we got going on. I had several conversations recently, and I think overall most people feel optimistic. I don't know that there's any difference in the world in general because I pretty much can do a cross section of just about everyone in my past, and I'll find people that are optimistic. I'll find people that are pessimistic or completely down on themselves. It doesn't really matter what's going on in the world. That's just how they operate. But right now, I think most of the people that I'm talking to right now feel a little bit of momentum and they're moving themselves forward. So with that being said, here's a little thought that I had for everyone. I need to make sure if you guys are chatting or doing anything, sometimes I miss it. So, but I'm glad you guys are here. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Anyway, with that being said, I was looking at an insurance company who increased year over year for the last 4 years, a total of 20%, rough, give or take. which isn't terrible. However, in terms of premium, by the way, however, premiums in the state they operate in has gone up 60, almost 65%, like 63%, I think it was, over the last 4 years. So if your premiums didn't rise, or you rose up some, but you didn't match the pace, that tells me that you actually aren't doing any better. You're just doing better despite your systems. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Real estate agents have the same issue, right? I just said this to somebody, I believe they were in South Carolina, because I used the numbers of, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, it would have been, 5 years ago, the price points in their area was like just under 200, say 180, 200, somewhere in there. And now they're 300. That's a 33% increase. Actually, go from 200 to 300 would be a 50% increase. So a 50% increase. If your volume hasn't gone up by 50% in the last 5 years, then you're not keeping up with the market. If it's gone up 50%, well, then your business is just rising with the tide. I'm trusting that makes sense. This is a business conversation. This is how it actually works. If you are actually increasing your business is moving faster, better, stronger than other competitors or those in your market, and you're not average, you're beating the market averages. Period. And it's not going to come down to always just the hustle factor. Sometimes, many times, it's a conversation around systems. Yeah, we just had our Unshakeable business intensive last week on Friday. It was a small, intimate group, and it was awesome. And we got into systems, and we talked about differentiation. We specifically, because we have 5 different areas of the business, and one of them is expertise. And expertise should position you as an expert. There's a distinction between you and everybody else around you. So the admonition tonight, no, this is not a Christmas conversation. We'll have an end of the year conversation next week. But for now, it's a conversation of let's get real so we can talk about getting right for next year. You'll never be able to move into 2025 until you first put appropriate bow on 2024. I've said it last year. I said it the year before that. If you cannot successfully identify or diagnose the challenges and then write a prescription or get a prescription for how to change that, you're bound to repeat 2024. So because of that, I've actually gone out and sent a bunch of messages to a bunch of people that I've had conversations with in the last year. You might be one of those people if you're hearing this today. And I have offered to meet again and talk about where you're at, where you're going, see if we can map out any kind of plan. If there's an opportunity for us to work together, cool. If not, you'll at least walk away with some clarity. But I'm doing that because we get so entrenched in our activities in our lives that we sometimes lose we fall to the drift, right? We talk about that in the book. It's all about momentum, the momentum framework. We got to get out of the drift. And how do you get into drive? That's the question. Do you need to be in drive? Is it going to take a new level of drive for you to get into the level of mastery you want? Well, the only way you're going to do that is to use the momentum framework. And to do that, you have to get real with where you are. Where am I? What's going on? How's the business? Here's what I'll tell you. This is what I told them at the business intensive. There's 3 main areas when it comes to expertise. One is market mastery. Do you understand the numbers and what's going on, and what are the prime movers and the things that actually move the business forward, right? Depends on what industry you're in. If you're in real estate, which is a dominant portion of those that are watching this usually, if you're in real estate, then market mastery would be understanding what metrics actually get a home sold and what metrics actually get a buyer into a house. How to market. You also need to understand product or service mastery, right? So if you're in the insurance business, you got to understand the products available. There's a ton of them. And then on top of that, you have to understand the service aspect of that too. This is what creates expertise. And then what do you have in place to build your skill? All necessary. All necessary. How am I doing in my overall purpose of the business? How am I doing in my expertise? Meaning, how am I doing in what I just talked about, right? Knowing my work, how to do that, and be labeled an expert, right? My coach, Coach Burt, says we're training Navy SEALs, not baby seals. Are you in that elite professional group? Could you be considered an expert or an authority in your field? How are you doing in the area of the experience, right? Are you giving people punctual, responsive service? Are you making it personal? Are you predictable? These are all things that we talk about there. How would you grade yourself in the area of expertise? Oh, excuse me, not expertise. We just said that, didn't we? Exposure. Exposure has to do with sales, right? Cash flow, money, revenue. That's what it's all about, revenue. Do you have a marketing strategy? Do you have a prospecting strategy? Do you have a closing strategy? And see, everybody, when they hear the word closing, by the way, they always think in terms of sales, it's like some hardcore close. No, close is just helping people take the next logical step, which would preclude that you have a system for that. Do you have a system for that? We have 8 C's. Starts with circulation, getting your name and getting names and numbers. Then it goes to contact. If I have names and numbers, what good is it if I can't get you on the phone or get you to respond to me by email, DM, or whatever, right? And then from there, once I make contact with you, my next step is not to sell you something right away. Most likely, it's going to be get you in insurance, it's a quote. In real estate, it's an appointment, right? It's a presentation. If it's a lawn care business, I'm going to get quotes. Whatever that first step is to get into that groove of business, right? That's my next step. We call that conversion. Then from conversion, we go into commitment, right? So if I got a quote, I just quoted you a policy or two. How do I get you to close on that policy? If I sat down with a homeowner to sell your house, how do I get you to commit to listing your home with me? From commitment, we go into client services. In real estate, by the way, the shortcut is it's all about showings, right? If I have a buyer, I got to get your happy ass out and looking at houses. If you're a seller, I got to figure out how to get more people through your house. It's all about showings. Client services done at the highest level is all about showings. The more showings brings me to the next one, which is going to be contract, right? Now this is where it differentiates depending on the industry. In real estate, then it goes to contract, then it goes to closing, and so on. In insurance or something that has a long-term membership type style model, that's going to go straight from client services into cycling, which is how do I keep this person and recycle, like constantly cycle them into the process, essentially retention. In real estate, the cycling conversation is about retaining that business back to my circulation or new leads, right? Cycling also, by the way, for insurance would be rounding out accounts, it's called. So if you have one line of insurance, but that person has other things, you can actually sell them other policies so that they have everything under one umbrella and make it easy for them, right? So think like most of the big companies call it bundling. But if you've got a boat, you may also have jet skis, and you may not have the insurance on the jet skis. So you get insurance on the jet skis. You ask for that kind of thing. That's rounding it out, right? If you got a house, but we don't have your car, we're going to try to get both of those put together so that we can make things better for you. Anyway, that's rounding out, that's cycling, and so on. That means you have a process. So when I say closing, we're talking about moving people through that process, and cultivation is a big part of that. It's not always about manipulation and gimmicks and it's about moving people through the process. That means you have to have a process. You need to be able to define it. The last one I usually refer to as the executive. Executive has to do with, do you know your numbers? I got people right now that is, they're doing a great job of it, but because they haven't done it in a deep way, they're spending a lot of time trying to figure out all their numbers. Right. Got one that's building a gym. It's got a large gym membership. Got a good thing going on, but we don't know the actual average value per customer, and the lifetime value, meaning we don't know what's the average tenure, how long do they actually stay as a member, and those types of things. Those are key metrics you need as a leader. Don't get me wrong. This is somebody that's done rather well. Like they've grown a big business, but at some point that process that you currently have is only going to take you so far. So you have to learn these types of things. The executive portion of your business is, do you understand cash flow? Do you understand profits and loss? Do you understand tax strategy? The higher up you go, the more complex it can become, which is why you have more and more people involved. Just depends on what kind of trips you want to take and what kind of house you want to live in and the car and the money and the things you want to give away and do. That'll determine how far you're going to go with all this. So tonight hasn't been super energetic, but what I will say from a Spencer Uncensored perspective, get a grip this week. Take a little bit of time, clarify where you are. Most of you have already done goal setting. You figured out what you want to do next year, but let's just reevaluate real quick. Where am I? How am I doing in these 5 areas? And then next week, let's have a little bit of a launch conversation into next year. So with that being said, it's been 17 minutes. You guys have been super quiet, actually 18 minutes. If you need something from me, you know how to reach out to me. Make sure, by the way, that you share with your friends what we got going on. I have so many people that tell me, oh, I love what you do. I love all the stuff you do. Keep dropping the content, blah, blah, blah. And then none of them ever get on unshakeablesecrets.com and get their daily dose. Like, why not? If you love it, let's go, right? If you want the book, go get the book, momentumandmastery.com. It's free, for crying out loud. All you got to do is pay $10 and I send it to you. Like, I got to print it and send it. That's all you're having to pay for. I make nothing in that situation. But if you appreciate what we're doing here, share it, share the hell out of it. And I will look forward to seeing you at episode 100 next week. And then we'll round out the year and we'll kick off 2025 beautifully.